Two, three, four, five. Welcome to Walk the Line. Well, I'm your host, OG Chris Murray, giving you my Dynasty Week 10 picks. Got a lot of interesting games this week. A lot of games, in my opinion, is going to play key factors into that playoff push. Without further ado, let's dive into these picks. First up, we have T-Pain, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Marizi and the Indianapolis Colts. Marizi, listen, you're home. You're going up against a team last week who struggled against the pass and couldn't seem to take care of the ball. You have to figure out how to get key guys like Josh Gordon, Eric Ebron going very early and control the game. Don't turn the ball over and just make T-Pain and those Buccaneers make mistakes on the offense side of the ball. T-Pain last week took a tough loss against division mate Nasty Noop and those Atlanta Falcons. Quarterback Jameis Winston played the big factor in that loss, man. He threw 6 picks. And in secondary, even though Matt Ryan went down, couldn't seem to figure out how to stop the passing game and gave up a total of 395 passing yards. T-Pain, you're going to have to figure out how to erase that Week 9 memory and bring that Week 9 loss memory and bring some form of motivation into this Week 10 matchup. Vegas has Marizi favored by 4 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong. I'm taking T-Pain, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting that bounce back W heading into Week 11. Next up, we had the Schemer versus soon-to-be new owner of the Baltimore Ravens, the Schemer. Let's just talk about your team right now because we don't have an owner right now for the Baltimore Ravens. You have to figure out what works and what does not work. You're sitting at 5-3. You're on a bubble. You can't afford to take any losses if you're planning on making that playoff push. You know, Vegas has this game favored to the Baltimore Ravens. I think no matter who the new owner is that's taking over the Ravens organization, I think the Schemer is going to be able to come away with the W in this matchup, continuing his playoff push. Next up, we have the Bus and those Chicago Bears versus Westside Pablo and those New York Giants. Okay. After Westside Pablo and those New York Giants came off of their bye week, there's pretty much been balling. You know, they have a record of 3-1, getting top production out of both sides, on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Offense has stepped up and been averaging 24 points per game in this 4-game stretch and putting up a total of 220 yards per game. The defense in this 4-game stretch has been balling out. 4 interceptions, 7 sacks, and he's sitting at 5-3, and he's actually in the playoffs right now, sitting in the wild card slot. Has Westside Pablo figured out a scheme that fits his game style there in New York? It's definitely going to be tested this week because he's going up against the Bus and those Chicago Bears, who's coming off of a bye, sitting at 6-2. You know, the Bus, this Chicago team, you know, is still without their running back, but they're facing, even though this Giants team is hot, they're facing an O-line who's not so hot, man. They're giving up 35 sacks, and it's only Week 10. 35 sacks. You know, and have you guys ever heard of a guy named Khalil Mack? Les, the Khalil Mack attack will be in full blast this week. I'm telling you right now, Vegas has the Bus favored by 3 points. I think Vegas got this one right. I got the Bus and those Chicago Bears with Khalil Mack going up there in New York and ripping that quarterback to shreds, getting a W going into Week 11. Next up, we have KP and the Kansas City Chiefs versus Taz and the Detroit Lions. Whew. Taz just beat the brakes off of HBO in that last week game. He has to carry that same motivation into this matchup. He's home. You know, he's coming off of a good win in that Week 9 matchup against those Dallas Cowboys. The number one thing, if Taz planning on making this a game, is he has to take Tyreek Hill out of the game. You have to eliminate him. And the number one thing how to eliminate a deep threat is getting after the quarterback. You know, if Taz can figure out how to mesh in a couple blitzes and cause a couple turnovers, this could be an actual game. However, KP and those Chiefs, man, it like, one thing to talk about these Chiefs this week, man. KP, man, you strike again. You strike again. Jay and those Seahawks, y'all got to do your homework, okay? How can you give one of the top 3 users as far as using a middle linebacker, Shaquem Griffin? How can you do that? Clearly, you have not done your homework on this man, KP. You know, and it's crazy that you gave him a 91 speed linebacker with a 91 acceleration. You know, and the guy's only 22, I believe. So, DML, prepare yourself, you know. And this week matchup, I think Shaquem Griffin is going to go off. He's going to go off, man. He's going to go off. And Jay is the person to blame for this. You know, Vegas has KP favored by 7 points. I think Vegas got this one right. I'm taking KP and the Kansas City Chiefs getting a W over Taz and those Detroit Lions going into week 11. Next up, we have Eddie Forrest and the LA Chargers versus Hamilton and the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. Hamilton has the number 1 defense in the DML heading into this matchup. That defense is definitely going to be tested in this matchup going up against the defending Super Bowl champ. But even though the Minnesota Vikings has the number 1 defense, the offense has flat out been on a total different page, man. This offense out there in Minnesota has been MIA all season. You know, somebody in the DML need to put out an Amber Alert to find this offense, and they need to find this offense very fast because they're going up this week against a blazing hot Phillip Rivers who seemed to turn back the clock on Father Time. You know, even though this Los Angeles Chargers team is sitting at 5-3, this is a team that I feel like don't reach its full potential until the playoffs actually start. This is the team that no matter what slot they get in the playoffs, whether they're a wild card team, first round bye, it doesn't matter. This is a team that just plans on getting enough W's to make it to the playoffs, and that's when I think their season really starts. This week, Phillip Rivers is going up against the number 1 defense in the DML. He has to continue to play on a level that you don't often see a 37-year-old play on. You know, Vegas has this game favored to the Los Angeles Chargers by 10. I think Vegas got this one right. I don't see the Minnesota Vikings defense going toe-to-toe with this Los Angeles Chargers offense. And I think he's going to get the W going into week 11. Next up, we have Jay and the Seattle Seahawks versus Nasty Noop and the Atlanta Falcons. Besides, you know, Jay giving away Shaquem Griffin to KP, the DML, man, the DML has been waiting patiently, week after week, for rookie wide receiver Bass to have that breakout game. You know, that game that lets them know I'm here in the DML. You know, I'm a guy that y'all have to fear on this offensive side of the ball. Baby, this is the week. Woo-hoo, this is the week. You know, he's going up against Atlanta Falcons defense who can't stop a lick of nothing. I'm telling you right now, Jay, feed that monster and let him go off, man. Let him go off. Okay, switching gears. This week, Atlanta Falcons GM Nasty Noop told reporters that the offense isn't the reason behind this team starting off 1-7. I think Nasty Noob spoke too soon. She's entering this matchup without star quarterback Matt Ryan, who has been sidelined for 5 weeks. Man, your offense is going to be the reason I'm telling you right now why you take this loss, because your defense has shown that they're not dependable, you know, and you're going to have to find some form of motivation. You're home, you know, you're going to have to figure out some form of motivation, how to come together to get this W, but I just can't see it. Because that defense has shown week after week after week that they're not a defense to depend on to close out a game or to go get a W. Vegas has Jay and the Seattle Seahawks favored by 1.5. I think Vegas got this one right. I'm expecting a big dominating game by wide receiver Bass, going off for 200 plus, getting a W going into week 11. Next up, we have Tone and the Oakland Raiders versus Expert and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags is a team balling on a whole nother level, you know. But what is like, whoa, some information is coming down the pipeline. You said what? Huh? Wow. Okay, we just got some breaking information. Austin Seferian-Jenkins is ranked fourth in receiving yards in the DML at the tight end position. DML, what the hell is going on? We keep talking about John Ross. How is a tight end ranked fourth in receiving yards in the DML? A tight end? Wow. But, wow. Expert in those Jacksonville Jaguars, man, like I said, are balling on a whole nother level, man. And I see why now. But this week's matchup right here is going to show if this team is battle tested, because they're going up against Tone and those Oakland Raiders, who's sitting at 6-2, and Tone is a top tier user. You know, he's a top tier user. And this right here can be easily a playoff matchup. You know, a potential playoff matchup. Tone. 2 factors that you're going to have to figure out how to complete to make this a game. Number 1, you have to take Austin Seferian-Jenkins out of the game. He's Dak's number one target. Number 2, you cannot turn the ball over. You're facing a defense who's ranked second in takeaways. You know, you're going to have to figure out how to execute them 2 things. If you can figure out how to execute those 2 things, I can see, you know, this being a potential neck-to-neck game. You know, but this right here, man, is gonna impact the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, this is a playoff impactful game right here, man. Like, this is good. This is gonna be a good matchup. Vegas has Expert favored by 2 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong, man. I think Tone and those Oakland Raiders are going to figure out how to go up there in Jacksonville and come away with the W going into week 11. Don't let me down, man. Next up, we got Skill Trading the Buffalo Bills versus the Big Homie and the Cincinnati Bengals. This game right here, man, just flat out going to come down to, because both offenses seem to have that spark. Then the next week, they seem to just vanish, you know, like a thief in the night. I think this game right here is going to come down to what offense can figure out how to stay hot throughout the whole game. You know, you got to come out and you have to play entire 32-minute game. Don't let off the pedal. Vegas has the big homie favored in this matchup by 4 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. The big homie is coming. The big homie and those Bengals are coming off of a dominating Week 9 matchup victory over my Cleveland Browns, and I think he's going to carry that same motivation into this matchup, getting a W going into Week 11. Next up, we have JB Blazing and the Denver Broncos versus Kirk and the Green Bay Packers. JB didn't take not one loss, but 2 losses in that Week 9 matchup against KP and those Kansas City Chiefs. The first loss he took was getting a 50-piece McNugget dropped on his head with a 12-piece on the side. But the biggest hit that this Denver Broncos team took was losing rookie right end Antoine Posey. This guy, man, was having a breakout rookie year. You know, before he got hurt, he was sitting with 10.5 sacks, and he was impacting each game for the Denver Broncos on the defensive side of the ball. Moving on, without him, that defense, I think that defense is going to struggle because now they have to figure out how to get pressure on up-and-coming opponents' quarterbacks. You know, losing a guy that's, you know, pretty much basically averaging a sack or 2 a game, that can take a big hit on the defense. Kurt, listen, they're going up against a team that just got 62 points put up on their head. They're going to be looking for some redemption in this matchup. You have to not play the record. Come out, play, focus in this matchup, and understand that even though this team has been struggling, like I mentioned, in this matchup, they're going to try to find some form of redemption. You have to be focused. Vegas has Kirk and the Packers favored by 1 point. I think Vegas got this one wrong. The Denver Broncos just got 62 points put up on their head. They're going to find some way, some motivation deep within. You know, I can imagine that team meeting that they're having pretty much leading up into this game. You know, I think they're going to come out ready to play in this matchup, getting a W going into Week 11. Next up, we have tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus my Cleveland Browns. This is going to be a interesting matchup right here. You know, you got tight work who's sitting at 4-4, potentially looking for a wild card slot versus my Cleveland Browns, who just seem week after week after week can't seem to just get the goddamn job done on the defensive side of the ball. Even though our offense seems to turn the ball over a lot, our offense is what's keeping us in games. Our defense can't seem to execute the defensive game plan that we prepare coming into each matchup week after week after week. It's either we have a cornerback making a wrong read, trying to jump a route, and which flat out causes a touchdown, or you have a late game penalty where we're getting off the field on 3rd and down, and our guys are just not disciplined, and they're getting the penalty, which potentially continues a drive to a lead and touchdown. So the offense is not a factor in Cleveland. It is the defense. Switching gears, the Miami Dolphins. Number 1 was a pro. I'm telling you right now. The number 1 factor heading into this game is Mr. John Ross himself. If Tyreek and those Dolphins can seem to figure out how to slow Mr. John Ross down, this possibly could be a matchup. You know, this possibly could be a game. But like I said, I don't care if my team was sitting at, we had zero wins. I'm never going to pick against myself. I'll be a fool to do that. This week, I'm going up against Tyreek and those Dolphins, and Vegas has the Dolphins favored by 8 points. Vegas, y'all disrespecting me. I'm going to pick myself in this matchup, getting a W at home, putting another W in the win column. Next up, we have SJ and the Houston Texans versus 85 and the New Orleans Saints. SJ, your defense got to be ready to ball in this matchup. flat out. Defense has to be ready to ball in this matchup. Y'all going up against a team that loves to pretty much put points up, but their defense is also tough too. But the number one factor in this matchup is you're facing Mr. Alvin Kamara, who is having an MVP season. You got to take him out of the game and get your offense going and figure out how to put points up on the board. Because in previous matchup, we have seen the New Orleans Saints stop guys in the red zone and force them to keep constantly kicking field goal after field goal while they're on the offensive side of the ball putting up 7+ points. You have to figure out how to balance out your game. Stop Kamara on the defensive side of the ball, but also on the offensive side of the ball put up points against this tough New Orleans Saints defense. Now, going over to New Orleans. This is going to be an interesting matchup because the Texans are without star right end J.J. Watt. Kamara has already shown that he can shred a defense not only in the run game but also in the receiving game. So I think this is gonna be a walk in the park for 85. The Houston Texans are down without one of their top front four guys on the defensive side of the ball, and I can't see them containing Kamara with what they have left on that defensive line. Vegas has this game favored with 85 by 6 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong. I think Vegas got this one wrong. SJ is going up against a top-tier user, and when SJ seems to play top-tier users, his game seems to excel through the roof. And I think that he's going to come in this game with a lot of motivation to knock off 85 and those undefeated New Orleans Saints, getting the W going into Week 11. Next up, we have C-Rob and the Carolina Panthers versus King Vitamin and the Los Angeles Rams. Wow. Listen. This Rams team is spiraling out of control. Jared Goff can't seem to take care of the ball. He's sitting with 27 interceptions. The O-line can't figure out how to protect Goff, which is playing a factor in those interceptions being high, giving up 28 sacks. But the biggest factor out there in LA right now is Mr. Todd Gurley. He can't seem to get going. He's only rushed for a total from week 1 leading up to week 10, rushed for a total of 326 rushing yards with 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns. Somebody need to locate the bus, and we need to get King Vitamin a nice hot box of Krispy Kreme donuts, because why is one of the most dominant running backs in the DML, he has not seemed to be able to get at least 1 touchdown? KP, man, I'm putting in a special order for them Krispy Kreme donuts. I know, you be very busy, but I need this express shipment over to King Vitamin and have them hot and ready for him. C-Rob, you're going up against an O-line who cannot protect their quarterback. They cannot protect their quarterback. So you have to stick to the formula what the Los Angeles Rams have shown in previous matchups. Do not try to switch up anything. Get after the quarterback. Make him cause turnovers. Make him turn over the ball. And you will have the W going into Week 11. Vegas has C-Rob favored by 11 points. I think after Vitamin listens to this show, he's going to find some form of motivation to get Mr. Todd Gurley going and get the W going into Week 11. Next up, we have the DML game of the week. We got Mr. Matty Ice and those Philadelphia Eagles versus Sweet 99 and those San Francisco 49ers. Woo! This right here is going to be what potentially can be a NFC championship matchup. You know, Matty Ice is having another amazing season. He's sitting at 7-1. The defense is balling out, but the offense, I see, it's not the same offense that we seen in the first season, in that 2019 season. But they're still getting the job done. You know, you got running back Matt, who's coming off of a breakout game, which got him an NFC Player of the Week honors. He showed that not only can he run the ball, finishing the game with 139 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns, he showed that he can also be that dual threat running back, going off for a total of 80 receiving yards, also getting 2 touchdowns. So I think that he's going to play a big factor in this matchup, going up against that San Francisco 49ers team, take a little bit of the pressure off of that rookie quarterback, you know, run the ball, be able to get into short field, meaning a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, so that way that you're not putting yourself behind the chains by constantly having to go 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, stuff like that. I think Matty Ice, you know, and these Eagles, man, are just finding their way each week, you know, coming out with a different game plan each week on the offense side of the ball and the defense side of the ball, and just constantly switching things up. In this matchup, like I just mentioned, the running game has to be strong to take the pressure off of that rookie quarterback. Now, Sweets 99. Since Jimmy G has came back, this team has been playing like a team on a mission. But I don't think that Jimmy G is responsible for this 8-0 start. I think that the defense has been balling on another level. And in this matchup, the defense has to continue on doing exactly what they have been doing leading up into this matchup. Getting after the quarterback, causing turnovers, and pretty much closing out each drive, pretty much getting off the field on 3rd down. You know, this game is another game that can have playoff. It can impact the playoffs. You know, Vegas has Sweets 99 and the San Francisco 49ers favored by 2.5 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong. And I'm going with Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles getting the job done out there in San Fran, going into Week 11 with the W. Next up, we have under 2 rated and the Washington Redskins versus HBO and the Dallas Cowboys. These are pretty much 2 teams that are struggling right now. Out there in Washington, they can't seem to figure out how to protect the quarterback, how to put points up on the board. You know, out there in Dallas, they can't seem to figure out how to, after trading Dak Prescott, can't figure out how to stop turning the ball over. You know, so this is a game right here with 2 struggling teams who need a W bad. Vegas has HBO favorite by 3 points. I think Vegas got this one right. How the Washington Redskins O-line is playing, I can't see them extending drives. I can just see them pretty much flat out closing out 3 and out on multiple of their drives throughout this game. Those are my picks for Week 10. Drop a comment, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. I'm out.